New picture from Norway shows work is well underway on constructing Shell's huge Jackdaw gas platform for the North Sea. It's nearly finished, given the green light by the Conservative government in 2022. Off the coast of Shetland, permission for the Rosebank oil field was granted a year later.
Rosebank is predicted to create more than £8 billion in direct investments.
It's backed by Norwegian firm Equinor and Ithaca Energy. Climate campaigners say its emissions would be the same as running 56 coal-fired power stations for a year.
Stop Rosebank! Stop Rosebank! Stop Rosebank! No new oil and gas!
After a court battle between activists and the 3 oil and gas companies in Edinburgh, consent for both sites was quashed today, ruled unlawful because the climate assessment only looked at the impact of extracting fossil fuels, not the impact of burning them.
This is a very important victory today in the fight for climate justice, because what the court is saying is that oil and gas companies should no longer be allowed to pretend that the immense climate harm from new oil and gas projects can be ignored.
Work is allowed to continue on Jackdaw and on Rosebank for now, but no oil and gas can be extracted while new climate assessments are carried out. In Aberdeen, the oil capital of Scotland, jobs and investment are at stake. The decision has brought uncertainty.
90,000 people within Scotland are directly and indirectly employed in the oil and gas industry in Scotland. So this is an energy transition. It's not as simply as just turning off the taps. We need to recognise the role of oil and gas whilst recognising the role of an integrated energy mix.
A tough decision now awaits the government, how to balance their climate commitments with economic concerns when the oil companies reapply for consent.
Now remember, Labour went into the general election promising no new licences for North Sea oil and gas projects, but these projects already have their licences. It is just about this consent, so their future lies in the political world now rather than the legal one.
A day after she backed airport expansion, we asked the Chancellor if she was ultimately prepared to pull the plug.
We were really clear in our manifesto that we would honour all existing licences, including at Rosebank and Jackdaw, and we will stick by those manifesto commitments.
Come what may.
We made a commitment in our manifesto to honour all existing licences. That's important to give certainty to business.
While in opposition, Ed Miliband described Rosebank as climate vandalism. The Energy Secretary wasn't available for interview today. The SNP's Westminster leader is an Aberdeenshire MP.
I want to see the people here, the workforce that I represent, protected and respected. They've not been protected or respected by the Conservative Party in Westminster, who promised them drill baby drill, and that's never going to last. We're not going to be in that position in 40 years' time. That's a false hope. The Labour Party, who told them that they're going to shut down the industry effectively, and now we're going to see if they're really going to do that or not, or whether Rachel Reeves is going to win out.
You're hoping Rosebank goes ahead?
I'm hoping that the people I represent get the jobs and energy security they require. And I think
that sounds like yes.
And I think everyone across Scotland would want to see that, because that is the right thing to do.
Something strongly contested by those who brought this challenge to court.
So none of this oil is going to support the UK's energy security. It's not going into British cars or British industry. It's not bringing down people's energy bills. It will involve giving a multi-billion-pound tax break to the developer, Equinor, which is already a ludicrously profitable oil company. So the UK public will be picking up the tab for mostly developing that field. And if the government is serious about long-term sustainable jobs in the UK, in the communities that need it most, it needs to focus on its renewable energy sector.
Keep it in the grass!
Outside the Norwegian embassy in London tonight, campaigners gathered.
Keep it in the ground!
With companies who've already invested millions keen to push ahead, and Equinor insisting Rosebank is crucial for economic growth, their fight is far from over.
Well, the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, says planes will be taking off from a new third runway at Heathrow within a decade, despite questions over the environmental impact of the plans. The world's energy watchdog, the International Energy Agency, says to reach net zero by 2050, governments need to be curbing demand for flights. Sir Keir Starmer used to oppose the third runway on climate grounds. Now he's backing a plan that would instead increase flights. The government says, though, that things have changed and it will require airlines to increase the use of sustainable aviation fuel. That's fuel made from cooking oil or other renewable sources. Currently, just 0.5% of global aviation fuel is sustainable. Now, ministers want the UK to get to 22% by 2040. So the government hopes this could reduce carbon emissions from aviation by up to 6.3 million tonnes by 2040. Right now, though, air travel already generates almost 33 million tonnes of carbon each year. And that's before considering the emissions from hundreds of thousands more flights from a new third runway. Well, I caught up with Rachel Reeves in East Yorkshire a little earlier.
I'm confident that sustainable aviation and economic growth go hand in hand. The efficiency of engines used in aeroplanes has improved, and just at the beginning of this year, this government has introduced a mandate for sustainable aviation fuel that can cut carbon emissions from flying by 70%.
So you want planes taken off by 2035. In your best case scenario, those sustainable aviation fuels only deliver 1/5 of all airline fuel. By 2040, that's 4/5 of flights still pumping out non-sustainable fuel.
That's a big change from where we were at the end of last year when it was at 0%. And at the same time, engines are also becoming more efficient. So we are confident, and Heathrow are confident, that we can deliver a third runway at Heathrow whilst also meeting those objectives.
If you can't deliver a third runway within the UK's climate targets, would you then scrap it?
I'm confident, and last time that Heathrow came forward with proposals, they went to the courts and the investment plans were upheld. So I believe the case for a third runway at Heathrow is stronger than ever.
There's a difference between being confident and being sure, though, isn't there? There's a possibility that this doesn't happen because you don't meet the now very, very strict climate targets.
I'm absolutely confident that sustainable travel and economic growth go hand in hand, and we will work with Heathrow to get these projects off the ground, to get those flights taking off.